Myself Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Now, let us discuss today a number of problems related to control structures in C language. Now, we will start with the decision making and branching statements in C language. So, conditional statements in C programming are used to make decisions based on the conditions. So, there are the following are the types of conditional statements in C language, that is called a simple if statement, if else statement, nested if else statement, if else if ladder, and switch statement. Now, how these statements are working, let us see. Now, this is the overall picture of the decision making statement supported in C language. Now, first, let us talk about the simple if statement. Now, the single if statement or simple if statement in C is used to execute the code if the condition is true. If the condition is false, then it will come out of the if condition, and any code which is below the if condition will be continued. Now, it is also known as a one-way selection statement. So, you have to write down the syntax like this. If any expression, if that expression is true, then only the code block will be executed. You can see the flowchart also. So, if condition, this condition, if it is true, then this number of statements which is there in that if block will be executed. Then if it is false, then it will come out and continue the programming which is written below. Now, the next one is called if else statement. This statement is used to execute the C program. When the condition is true, then the if block is executed. When the condition is false, then the else block is executed. So, you have to write like this: if any expression, if that expression is true, then true block is executed. If that expression is false, then false block will be executed. So, you can see the flowchart. So, if condition, if it is true, then true block is executed. If it is false, else block will be executed, and then it will continue the normal programming. Next, nested if else statement. Now, the nested if else statement is used when a program requires more than one test condition or test expression. Now, it is also known as multi-way selection statement also. When a series of decisions are involved in a statement, we use nested if else. That means if within if. So, if within one condition, another condition need to be evaluated, and the depth of the nested, there is no specific rule what should be the depth of the nesting. So, you can see over here the syntax. If this outer expression, if this outer expression is true, then it will check the inner expression. So, if the inner expression is true, then statement which is there in block 1 will be executed. If the inner expression is false, then block 2, the statements which is written in block 2 will be executed. If the outer if condition is false, then it will come to the else part, and then it will execute block 3, the number of statement which is written in block 3. This is called multi-way selection or nested if else statement. Next is called if else if ladder. So, this is used to execute the code based on the multiple conditions. So, it is also known as multi-path decision statement. Now, it is a chain of if else statement in which if the statement associated with if else is false, then it will check the next condition. So, if the next condition is also false, then it will check the third condition, and so on. So, every time it will be checking one of the condition. If it is false, then it will go for checking the next alternative condition. So, that you can write n number of conditions in the if else if ladder. If none of the conditions or expressions are true, then the final else will be printed. So, you can see over here, if condition 1, if it is true, then the statements below this will be executed and remaining are skipped. If first one is false, then it will go on checking the condition number 2. If it is true, then the statements will be executed. Otherwise, statement 3 will be checked, and so on. If none of the conditions are true, then the final statements which is inside the else block will be executed. Now, the next important statement is called switch statement. Now, switch statement acts as a substitute for a long if else if ladder. that is used to test a list of conditions. Now, a switch statement contains one or more case labels which are tested against the switch expression. Now, when the expression matches to a particular case label, then the associated statement will be executed with that case. So, what is the syntax? Let us see. Switch with expression. If this expression is true, then it will go inside the switch statement. Then first, it will try to match with the case label. So, the value of the expression will be matched with their case labels. If the case label is matching with value 1, then the statements which is associated with value 1, this case label, will be executed, and then break will be executed so that you can come out of the switch case. If it is not matching with label 1, then label 2 will be executed, and then a number of statements associated with it will be executed. Like that, if none of the case labels are true, then the default statement will be executed, and the statements which is there inside the default statement will be executed. Now, placing the default statement is not compulsory. It is an optional. If you want that, if none of the cases are true, then the final default should be executed. Then you must write the default statement. Now, after the decision-making statements, let us move on to what are the control structures or loop control statements in C language. So, why a loop should be used first? So, in programming, a loop is used to test or to repeat a block of code until a particular condition or a specified condition is met. Now, in C programming, there are 3 types of loops. One is called for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay, so depending on the position of the control statement, a loop can be classified into entry control loops and exit control loops. Now, whenever you want to enter into a loop, if the entry condition is true, then the loop will be executed. Now, the for loop and the while loop comes under entry control loops, whereas the do while loop comes under your exit control loop. Now, entry versus exit control loop. In the entry control loops, the condition is checked before starting the execution of the loop. Now, if the condition is not true before starting the loop, then the code of loop will not be executed. Similarly, in an exit control loop, the condition is checked after executing once the loop. So, at the exit, the condition will be tested. If the condition is true, then the loop will be repeated until the condition is satisfied. Now, there are basically 3 types of loops supported in C programming. So, for loop, while loop, and do while loop. For loop is used as an entry control loop. While loop is also an entry control loop, whereas do while is an exit control loop. Now, next we will talk about what is the syntax for loop. So, the syntax for loop contains the 3 arguments. For first one is called initialization statement, then test condition, and then the update statement. Now, first, in the initialization statement, you can initialize any variable. Then in the test condition will be evaluated. If the condition becomes true, then it will enter into the body of the loop, and then once executing the body of the loop, then the update statement will be executed, and again condition will be tested. This loop will be executed till the condition is satisfied. When the condition becomes false, then it will come out of the for loop. Now here in the for loop, all the 3 sections which is given initialization, test condition, and updation of the statements or variables is not mandatory. So you can write any one, or you may not write all the 3 sections, or you may write only 1 or 2 sections, depends on your application. Next is called while loop. In the while loop, at the entry condition, the test expression will be evaluated. If this expression is true, then the body of the loop will be executed. Now, the while loop will be continuously executing the block of code until the condition is met. Similarly, in a do while loop, the body of the loop is executed once, and at the exit, the condition will be tested. If this condition is true, then again it will enter into the body of the loop. When the condition becomes false, then it will come out of the loop. So these are the basic control structures used in C language. So we discussed about the loops and if conditions. Now let us discuss about a program that is called Fibonacci Search. Now how to do Fibonacci search over here? Let us check it. Now, how to do Fibonacci search? To do Fibonacci search, we need a list of elements and we need a search element. So, when the search element is found in the list or array, we'll say that the element is found at so and so location or index. When the element is not there in the list or array, we'll say that element not found. So, searching is always a process where the index or location of the search element is found. So, let us consider one array A is equal to, suppose the conditions before doing Fibonacci search, the condition is first of all the elements must be in a sorted order. So, let us take the elements in a sorted order. Suppose 9, then 12, some 25, 32, 45, 56, then 68, then 73 and 82. For example, these many numbers we have taken into an array. Okay. Now, what are the index numbers? So, we'll write down the index number 0, 1, then this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. These are the 9 numbers. So, n is equal to, or let us take one more number over here. So, 82 and 95 for example. Okay. So, totally 10 numbers are there in our array. Okay. Now, what is how to generate the Fibonacci series first? So, Fibo series we can write it down here like this. So, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21 and so on. This is the Fibonacci series we have written where the next number will be generated by adding the previous two numbers. So, Fibo of n is nothing but Fibo of n minus 1 plus Fibo of n minus 2. Okay. Now, let us write down the index positions of this Fibonacci series. So, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and so on. So, we have written the indexes. So, this is called the index. This is called the series numbers. Then, how to start the process? So, how many elements are there in this Fibonacci series? So, how many elements are there for searching? So, let us take one search element. So, for example, the search element, let us say it is called X. X is the search element. X is the search element and we want to check for the element 56. We want to check for the element 56. Now, how to start the process? Now, what is the length of this particular array? So, or how many elements are there, which is nothing but 10 elements are there. So, we will need a value from where we have to start searching. So, in binary search, normally we divide the list into two halves by finding the mid element and we start searching from the mid element. But whereas in Fibonacci search, we have to find out a value. Let us take a variable called m, from where we have to start searching for this element 56. So, how to start this process? For that, how many elements are there in the array? There are 10 elements are there. So, we have to check which is the nearest Fibonacci number for that. So, the nearest Fibonacci series number is 13. Nearest Fibonacci series number is 13 and its index is 7. So, m is nothing but we'll take as 7, which is nothing but the nearest Fibonacci series index number. So, and the number of elements are 10. So, the index is 7. 13 is nearer to 10. Okay. So, index number 7 we have taken. Now, initially, let us take offset is equal to -1. And we have to repeat this process. So, for example, we will write down while the Fibonacci of Fibo generator. let us take a Fibo generator of M. Fibo generator of M. Okay. Now, if it is greater than equals to 1, then what you have to do? Then we have to find out the value of I. Okay. Now, the formula for I is nothing but the index position from where you have to start searching. So, I is nothing but the minimum value of offset plus Fibo of or Fibo generator of M minus 2, okay, comma, your length of the array or list minus 1. So, according to this formula, what will happen? Minimum of, we can write down here, minimum of, your offset is minus 1 initially plus Fibo of M minus 2, which is nothing but Fibo generator of, here you can write down generator. So, M minus 2 is 5, okay, comma, length of the list is 10 minus 1, which is 9. So, we can write down here minimum of Fibo generator of 5. So, at 5th index, which value is there? The value is 5. So, minus 1 plus 5, comma, 9. So, minimum index that we got is 4. Minimum index that we got is 4. That means we should start searching at A of I, that is 4. Okay. Now, write down the conditions for searching. If your search element X is greater than A of I, then what you have to do? Then we have to do M is equal to M minus 1 and we have to do offset is equal to I. Offset is equal to I. Else, if it is less, X is less than A of I, then we'll change, similarly, we'll change this M to M minus 2. Otherwise, if it is neither big nor less, then we'll simply return the index position. Simply return the index position I. This is the logic that you have to follow. So, based on this logic, how to compute? So, here, what is the value of X? The value of X is nothing but 56. 56, is it greater than A of 4? So, what is A of 4? A of 4 is nothing but 45. A of 4 is nothing but 45. So, 56 is greater than 45? Yes. So, if it is true, then you have to change the value of M to M minus 1. So, M is equal to, earlier M was 7, now it becomes 6. Okay. Now, offset is I. So, offset is changing to I. So, I is nothing but, I was 4. So, it is offset is now 4. Okay. Now, we will repeat this process. So, again we will compute the new index until the element is found. So, let us see how to do that. So, how to repeat the process? Now, let us take, now, what is the value of M? M is equal to 6 and offset is equal to 4. Let us compute the value of I again, which is minimum of offset plus Fibo generator of M minus 2, comma, length of the list or array minus 1. So, this is the formula. So, which is nothing but minimum of offset is nothing but 4 plus M is nothing but 6. So, Fibo of 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 is nothing but, is the value 3 here, comma, 9. So, which is nothing but 7. So, I is nothing but 7. So, what is there in A of 7? Which is A of 7. At A of 7, we have 73. We have 73 as the value. Now, let us check if X is greater than A of 7. So, what is the value of X? The value of X is 56. Is it greater than 73? No. Then check the less condition, else if X is less than A of 7, so 56 is less than 73, yes. Then what you have to do? We have to do M is equal to M minus 2. Now earlier M was 6, 6 minus 2, it will be 4. Okay, now we have to repeat the process again. So we got m is equal to 4, no change in the offset value, that is 4 only. Now let us repeat this process again. So we'll again compute the value of I. Offset is nothing but 4 plus Fibo of 4 minus 2, m minus 2. So which is nothing but 4 minus 2 is 2. Fibo generation of 2 is nothing but 1. So it is 4 plus 1, 5, comma 9. So the minimum value is 5. So now repeat this process. So what do you have to do now? Now let us check. A of I is nothing but A of 5. A of 5. A of 5 contains the value 56. A of 5 contains the value 56. Now check. If x is greater than A of 5, that is x is 56, is greater than 56, no. Okay, else x is less than A of 5, no. Then what you have to do? That is final else is to return the index. Return the index, which is nothing but I. Okay, now return the I value. So what is the value of I? I is equal to 5. I is equal to 5. That means the element 56 found at index 5. So yes, the element 56 is found at index number 5. So this is the process of Fibonacci search. Now let us move to our Dev C++ compiler and execute the program. Now the question is to do Fibonacci search. So first write down the structure of the C program. Hash include stdio.h. Int main and return 0. Right. So what is the input required? Input is to read a list of numbers. So let us take one array to read a list of numbers. Integer array a is equal to, take some list of numbers. Okay. Let us take 5, 8, 13, you should take in a ascending order. 13, 25, 32, 45, 56, then 62, then 75, then 88. So this is an array taken. Okay. Otherwise you can read the elements of the array also. Now after that, what do you have to do? Find out the array length. So integer arr, let us take arr here. Array underscore length is how much? 10 elements you have taken. Otherwise you can compute the length of the array also. That is up to you. So I am directly taking here array length, and let us take a search element x. Now first of all, read the search element. So enter the search element. Scanf percentile d ampersand x. So such element reading is over. Now we need to call the function. Now we'll write down if we'll call the function Fibo generator, Fibogen, and we'll pass the array and we'll pass the array length, we'll pass the search element. So if this results in -1, then we'll write down that element is not found. So printf search element not found. Otherwise it is found. Okay. So we'll write down else printf element found at percentile d location or index. Okay. Element found at percentile d location or index. So here what you will write down? We'll write down Fibo-gen, the return value from Fibo-gen function, which is array, then array length. We are passing 3 arguments here and x value. Okay, so this is our main function where you are reading a list of elements, then we are reading the search element, and we are checking whether the return value is -1 or any valid positive integer. So if it is returning -1, then we are simply printing the element is not found. If it is returning any valid integer, which is the index number, then we are saying that element is found at that particular index. Okay, now this is our main function. Now, how to generate the Fibonacci numbers? Because as the Fibonacci numbers will be used in this program, so first write down a function to generate the Fibonacci number. So write down int Fibo generator. So here we'll write down, this is not Fibonacci generator, we'll write down this as search. Okay, generator will only generate the numbers. So we'll change this to Fibonacci search. Now we'll write down the Fibo-gen function where we'll pass only the number n. Okay, now here what I will check, if the value of n is less than 1, okay, or if n, okay, if less than 1, then what is the return value? Return 0. Else check the condition. If n double equals to 1, if only one element is there, then return 1. Else, if more than one element is there, then it should return the value of Fibo of n-1 plus Fibo of n-2. So Fibo-gen of n-1 plus Fibo-gen of n-2 we have to write. Okay, so this is the logic for generating the Fibonacci numbers. So let us write down as Fibonacci series generation logic. Okay, now we'll go for the Fibonacci search logic. How to write down the Fibonacci search logic? So int Fibo search, how many arguments it takes? It takes 3 arguments. The first argument is an array, int an array. Then the second argument is array length, and third argument is a search element. Okay. So after passing the parameters or arguments, let us declare one variable initially m is equal to 0. Now what should be the value of m? And let us create one offset variable, comma offset. Now while Fibo-gen of your m, this is greater than 1. If this is greater than 1, then do m is equal to m plus 1. This you do repeatedly until the condition is satisfied. And you take the offset initial value is equal to -1. Okay. Now after taking this, now start the searching process. So for that, we'll write down a loop. If Fibo-gen of m is, this is length of the array. Okay, this is length of the array, or we have written as array length. Here if it is greater than 1, then what you have to do? Then we have to find out the offset. Okay, now we will write down if the value of offset, plus Fibo-gen of m-2 Okay, if it is less than the array length minus 1, array length minus 1, if it is this much, then what you have to do? Then you have to compute I is equal to offset plus Fibonacci of m minus 2. So this way we'll compute the index from where you should start searching. So offset plus Fibonacci of m minus 2. Okay. Otherwise we'll write down the else part. Otherwise I is equal to, we have to take array length minus 1. Array length minus 1. Okay. Now let us write down the conditions. If x is greater than ARR of I, x is greater than ARR of I, then what you have to do? We have to write m is equal to m minus 1, and then we have to write offset is equal to I. Reset the value of m and offset. Okay. Now else, if the value of x is less than ARR of I, if it is less, then we have to simply change m is equal to m minus 2 without changing the offset. Else, if it is not true, then we have to return the value of I, which is nothing but the index number where the element is present. Okay. Now, after this, let us check if the Fibonacci generator of m minus 1 and the array of the offset plus 1, array of offset plus 1 is same as the element x, then what you have to do? Then you have to write down return offset plus 1. Return offset plus 1. Else, if it is not found, then else return minus 1. So we have written the program. Now first let us save it and then run it. So the program name is Fibonacci Search. Change it, save it as C program. Then let us execute and check if there is any error. Okay. So in the else part we are getting error. So we have missed the semicolon over here. Okay. Let us check once again. So I is equal to offset plus, yes, I is undeclared. So let us declare I here. So let us declare I, comma this. So we have written the Fibonacci series program. Now let us execute it. So compile and run the program. Enter one search element. Suppose the search element is 100. So the element 100 is not there in the list. So the program should say the element is not found. So search element not found. So this test case is satisfied. Now let us run for another test case. Let us take one element as 25. 25 is found in the list. So it is found in third location. So this is the output of Fibonacci Search program. In this video, we have discussed about the control structures in C language and also discussed a program on Fibonacci Search. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.